Good afternoon and welcome to the Lincoln City Council meeting of March 4th, 2024. In accordance with LB 898, please be advised that a copy of the Open Meetings Act is posted at the back of the chamber by the northwest door. Let us all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Following the pledge, we will observe a short moment of silent meditation. Please remain standing if you are able. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated. The order of the City Council is as follows. The clerk will call the items listed on the agenda. Under public hearing, anyone wishing to speak on an item must first register and sign in at the table located in the lobby. The council shall require any member of the public desiring to address the council to identify himself or herself, including an address and the name of any organization represented by such person, unless the address requirement is waived to protect the security of the individual. Anyone wishing to speak on an item on the agenda should come forward after the clerk reads that item. The applicant may then make one short rebuttal. Each speaker should begin by stating their name, address, organization, and whether you're speaking in favor of or in opposition to the item. Testimony is limited to 5 minutes per speaker. After all public hearings, the council will vote on resolutions and items listed under third reading. On the second and last Mondays of each month, immediately prior to adjournment, anyone may speak on any issue not on the agenda for that date, nor planned for a future agenda. Madam Clerk, would you please call the first item of business?
Our first item of business today is our consent agenda, sections 1, 2, and 3.
Is there anyone here to speak on our consent agenda? Kim, welcome.
Good afternoon, council members. My name is Kim Morrow. I'm here with the mayor's office, 555 South 10th Street. I'm here to introduce Alyssa Martin to you as a nominee for the LES board. Alyssa serves as the managing director of Nelnet Renewable Energy. She had an impressive law career on both coasts before she came back to Lincoln, which is her hometown, in 2017. Previously, she worked as an attorney at Rembolt Lutke, then worked for the city in the mayor's office before moving to Nelnet in 2021. She holds degrees from Stanford and from Harvard Law School. She is deeply committed to serving the public interest and the common good, whether from the public or private sector. Her experience in both realms has taught her the importance of cultivating strong public-private partnerships and bringing diverse cross-sectoral perspectives to bear when confronting the complex challenges we now face. We believe that Alyssa's understanding of the energy sector, of city government, and of the business sector makes her an ideal candidate for the LES board, and we are thrilled to present her to you today. Alyssa?
Martin, welcome.
Thank you so much, and thank you, Kim. As Kim noted, my name is Alyssa Martin, and I grew up here in Lincoln, Nebraska, and currently serving as managing director of Nelnet Renewable Energy. And in the past couple years, what that's meant is I've helped from a legal operational management perspective support the development and financing of solar projects all across the country, including utility scale and commercial solar projects. And as my experience demonstrates, I do have a passion for working on issues of public and private interest. And in my time with the city, I had the opportunity to serve as a liaison to LES and to serve on the board of the District Energy Corporation. So it's kind of a full circle moment for me. I'm really honored and grateful to be considered for this role and to furthering LES's commitment to sustainability, affordability, reliability, and community. And if given the opportunity to work with LES's new CEO and other board members and personnel to further the important objectives of LES. So,
very good. Ms. Martin, thank you. First of all, let us thank you for agreeing to give your time to the City of Lincoln and continuing your service in yet another way to the City of Lincoln. We appreciate it very much. Let me see if any of my peers have questions for you. Any questions for Ms. Martin?
None.
Okay, very good. We received your resume and information previous, so I think we're well covered. Thank you again.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Take care. Is there anyone else here who would like to speak on any item on the consent agenda? Those are going to be items listed under sections 1, 2, and 3. Anyone else here who would like to speak on the consent agenda? All right, seeing none, Madam Clerk, go ahead and let's walk us through that.
Item 1A is appointing Alyssa Martin to the Lincoln Electric System Administrative Board to fill a partial term expiring December 31st of 2024, introduced by Carlson.
So moved.
Second?
Second, Washington, discussion. Seeing none, please call the roll.
Weber,
Yes.
Bowers,
Yes.
Carlson,
Yes.
Duden,
Yes.
Schob,
Yes.
Washington,
Yes.
Beckius.
Yes.
Motion carried 7-0. Item 1B is reappoint Don Schroeder to the Electrical Advisory Appeals and Examining Board for a term to expire August 15th, 2025, introduced by Carlson.
So moved.
Second?
Second, Washington, discussion. Seeing none, please call the roll.
Bowers,
Yes.
Carlson,
Yes.
Schob,
Yes.
Duden,
Yes.
Washington,
Yes.
Weber,
Yes.
Beckius.
Yes.
Motion carried 7-0. Item 1C is reappointing Jeffrey Johnson to the Electrical Advisory Appeals and Examining Board for a term to expire August 15, 2026, introduced by Carlson.
So moved.
Second?
Second, Washington, discussion. Seeing none, please call the roll.
Carlson.
Yes.
Schob,
Yes.
Duden,
Yes.
Washington,
Yes.
Weber,
Yes.
Bowers,
Yes.
Beckius.
Yes.
Motion carried 7-0. Item 1D is approving the selection of a contractor pursuant to the bids to be opened on February 29, 2024, and authorizing execution of the construction contract between the city and the Nebraska Department of Transportation for the use of federal transportation program funds for design, construction, and construction engineering of the Cotner Boulevard and Adams Street intersection traffic signal project, introduced by Carlson.
So moved.
Second?
Second, Washington, discussion. Yes, Tom?
Is there a problem with that date?
I don't believe so. I think that the contracts were opened on February 29th, and we're approving the selection of the contractor pursuant to that bid opening on the 29th. Is that my understanding, Director?
Elizabeth Elliott, Director of Lincoln Transportation Utilities. You are exactly correct that these were opened on the 29th. The state requires that we go through this process and confirm that we're using our normal bid practice and opening and selecting pursuant to that process.
I think it's just the wording, approving and then to be opened.
Future tense.
Well, on the first reading, yes, that were opened. I think on this one, yeah, we could say that they were opened on February 29th. And I think the next one, let's see, is the next one the same? Yeah, I think we've got two in a row that have it. It's the same concept with both
Okay.
of them.
Right. Any other questions, Councilman? Okay, very good. Thank you, Director Elliott. We appreciate it. Any other questions on 1D? I believe we have a motion and a second. I think we're ready for a roll call.
Weber,
Yes.
Bowers,
Yes.
Carlson,
Yes.
Duden,
Yes.
Schob,
Yes.
Washington,
Yes.
Beckius.
Yes.
Motion carried 7-0. Item 1E is approving the selection of a contractor pursuant to the bids to be opened on February 29, 2024, and authorizing execution of the construction contract between the city and the Nebraska Department of Transportation for the use of federal transportation program funds for design, construction, and construction engineering of the 84th Street and College Park Drive traffic signal project, introduced by Carlson.
So moved.
Second?
Second, Washington, discussion. Seeing none, please call the roll.
Weber,
Yes.
Bowers,
Yes.
Carlson,
Yes.
Duden,
Yes.
Schob,
Yes.
Washington,
Yes.
Beckius.
Yes.
Motion carried 7-0. Item 1F is approving the on-call professional services task order agreement between the city and Shimmer Associates, Inc. to provide preliminary engineering services for the Waterford Trail project, introduced by Carlson.
So moved.
Second?
Second, Washington, discussion. Seeing none, please call the roll.
Bowers,
Yes.
Carlson,
Yes.
Schob,
Yes.
Duden,
Yes.
Washington,
Yes.
Weber,
Yes.
Beckius.
Yes.
Motion carried 7-0. Item 1G is approving the on-call professional services task order agreement between City and HDR Engineering, Inc. for environmental services for the Waterford Trail project, introduced by Carlson.
So moved.
Second?
Second, Washington, discussion. Seeing none, please call the roll.
Carlson,
Yes.
Schob,
Yes.
Duden,
Yes.
Washington,
Yes.
Weber,
Yes.
Bowers,
Yes.
Beckius.
Yes.
Motion carried 7-0. Item 1H is setting the hearing date of Monday, March 25th, 2025 at 5:30 PM on Water Special Assessment District 1211 for Fletcher Avenue between 7th Street and 14th Street, introduced by Duden.
So moved.
Second?
Second, Carlson. Discussion? Seeing none, please call the roll.
Weber,
Yes.
Bowers,
Yes.
Carlson,
Yes.
Duden,
Yes.
Schob,
Yes.
Washington,
Yes.
Beckius.
Yes.
Motion carried 7-0. Items 2A and 2B were introduced by Schob.
So moved.
Second.
Second,
Thank
Weber. Discussion? All right, seeing none, please call the roll.
Washington,
Yes.
Weber,
Yes.
Bowers,
Yes.
Carlson,
Yes.
Duden,
Yes.
Schob,
Yes.
Beckius.
Yes.
Motion carried 7-0. That concludes our consent agenda. Section 4 is our public hearing liquor resolutions. I'll call items 4A and 4B together. Item 4A and B is application of Catering Investments LLC doing business as Robbers Cave Events for a Class CK liquor license located at 925 Robbers Cave Drive and the related manager application of Brandon J. Akert.
Brandon, welcome.
Happy to be here. Brandon Ackert, 747 O Street, Lincoln, Nebraska. Yeah, we signed a lease for the Robbers Cave building and we're taking it over full bore and got the liquor license switched over, and on approval, we'll carry it forward. Do you have any questions about it or anything?
I think we may.
Okay.
Councilman, please.
Yes, thank you very much. Carry on, carry forward, special events, regular meetings. Give us a general rundown of
Yep,
what
so
you do.
pre-pandemic, we were approached by the building owners to start a restaurant there. I was like, no way, my wife will kill me. But we could do an event center. So then it transformed into what it is now, because the brewery was there before, the Blue Blood thing. So brewery got ripped out, and now there's drywall carpets, chairs, tables. So corporate events, weddings, meetings, sales, whatever you want to do, we have spaces all over the building for those things. And then we originally had a catering contract for it, but then
Life
we,
change.
we all know our strengths in this world, and events are ours. So we decided to just sign a lease on the whole building and take it over fully. So it'll function identical, just my hands on everything, if that makes sense.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Any other questions for our applicant?
No question, but very best of luck to you.
Thank you. I think it's a big building. We got to fill it. So cool. Thanks.
Very good, thank you. Is there anyone else here who would like to speak on this item? Anyone else here to speak on items 4A and 4B? See none.
Mr. Chair, seeing no one coming forward to speak on those items, I'd like to motion approval of 4A and 4B.
Second.
Second in Washington, moved by Schob. Any comments? See none, please call the roll.
Weber,
Yes.
Bowers,
Yes.
Carlson,
Yes.
Duden,
Yes.
Schob,
Yes.
Washington,
Yes.
Beckius.
Yes.
Motion carried 7-0. That concludes section 4 of our agenda. We shall move on to section 5, our public hearing resolutions. I'll call item 5A. Accepting and approving the report of new and pending claims against the city for February 1st through February 15th of 2024.
Is there anyone here to speak on item 5A, new and pending claims against the city? Hello, welcome. If you could just please start with your name and address.
Rachel Wolf, 4710 South 57th Street, Lincoln, Nebraska, 68516. I am here to speak on a sewer backup claim that occurred at my house back in December. I had a master come out and plumber come out and confirm that the clog did start at the main line, not towards my line. In addition, the tap was replaced in my home in 2015 due to a similar error. The tap has a much longer lifespan than 8 years, so it would not have been an error towards or negligence towards on my end. And I recognize that there have been similar issues in my neighborhood, so it would imply that the lines nearby are towards the end of life. I know that they're on the Capital City Improvement Plan for the next few years to replace them, so either the maintenance isn't being done often enough for the end of life of these lines, or they just need to be replaced if we're not able to maintain them towards what is necessary. So I'm hoping to have you reconsider the claim, and I'm hoping also to have a letter stating responsibility for my insurance so that I can have the claim removed on my home, as well as a letter for the next owner of the home so that it's clear to them that it's not due to my negligence. So.
Okay, very good. Thank you so much. Let me see if any of my peers have questions for you, and then we may call staff up. We may not, depending on what my peers decide to do. And then how this will play out is if a member of the city council would like to withdraw your claim from the report and have a separate vote on it, they can do so. They can also let the claims report continue as it's introduced to us and move forward with that.
Okay.
So we'll see how it goes.
Okay.
All right. Thank you so much for coming forward. We appreciate it. Counselors, do we have questions? Yes.
Supposed to make a motion to amend on this?
I don't think quite yet, because I don't know that we know what we're doing with this
Okay.
particular claim yet.
I would like to make a motion that we maybe poll this until we get more information about this one particular claim.
Do you want to talk with staff first? Do you have questions
Yeah,
for
no,
staff?
I'd like to, hear something from somebody, yeah.
Okay. I think that we have some staff members here who might be able to answer some questions. Did you have a question? Yes, please. Sorry, Director Elliott. Please come forward.
Good afternoon, Liz Elliott, Director of Lincoln Transportation and Utilities.
Councilman Duden, please.
Where's this at, anyway?
So this location, I'm just going to go to my information here. Okay, so we are looking at 4710 South 57th Street. So basically 57th and LaSalle area is this location. And pulling up our asset management information, going back, I'll just go back 2000. This is the first backup that we have had at this location. This is on a year maintenance schedule. This has been, since 2000, we have maintained it anywhere from 12 to 15 months. But this year, the last time we were there before the December 19th, 2023 backup was January 12th, 2023. So less than a year, is actually about 11 months prior, so well within our year maintenance schedule. In this area, we did our normal, root control, mechanical maintenance that we do on these. We've not had prior in this area, so we weren't on notice of any issues. It was just basic roots that had grown in. Obviously, with any kind of forestry, just underground and above ground, the growth pattern changes. Some years it's faster than others, but this was the first time that we've had issues, and we were clearly within our year maintenance on that, so we weren't delayed on our routine maintenance on this one.
Liz, has this been an issue because of the drought citywide?
I wouldn't say that we've had anything higher than we normally have with roots and the sewer systems. It depends on the growth of trees and how fast they grow. Typically, our 12 months is very manageable in most areas of town, and we don't have to increase it. This one, since it was before, we do have it on one to watch to see if we need to increase the frequency, since this is the first time the year hasn't worked. But on average, most of our locations are a year to 2 year inspections. Once we start to see these issues, we do accelerate that in some areas. So this may be one that we add to an accelerated.
Do they
location.
scope it after they clean it or anything?
They do a video inspection of it, or what we call a TV inspection of it, yes. And that's when they did do that in this case. At that point, they could tell it was the roots, so we went in with our normal root cleaner at that time.
Councilwoman.
Thank you, Chair. I have a couple of questions about the mechanics of, I'd like you to sort of walk through what was happening. So every house has a sewer line that exits your house.
Correct.
And it connects to a main. So tell me, like, where is the main located? How far away is the manhole where the pressure is, I'm assuming this was sort of clean it out and then clear it?
Right, so this is an 8-inch standard sewer main. It is a total of this segment is 305 feet in length. It's on the 12-month cleaning, last clean January 12th. This one, hold on, I gotta go to a photo here. There are several pipe joints and laterals. We have seen through our TV inspections that there are some root intrusions through some of the normal cracks. We see cracks at the joints on those. That was last TV'd in 2020. We don't TV every year. We do it every few years and then continue with our maintenance schedule on that one. There was standing water found in the upstream manhole. Confirmed roots were the cause. With the roots, as they grow in, then the gunk that gets down, whether it's grease or rags and stuff like that, they then get caught on the roots and everything kind of builds up into those stoppage points. And that essentially looks like what happened here. The manhole.
And so the stoppage point is in the main.
It is in the main.
In the main.
It is in the main. It was not at the manhole. It was, I'm trying to see at what foot, but I don't have that noted on here. But it was somewhere within the main, not in the manhole. But it had backed up to the manhole, and there was standing water in the manhole.
Okay, and then do you have a time frame for when the city moved to annual clean out on this main?
It looks like we have been doing, let's see. We have been doing annual on this since 1995.
Okay. And what's the normal clean out when if it's not annual, do you have a normal?
Every couple years, I would say 2 to 3, somewhere in that area. It's some years we're closer to 24 months, others we're pushing 30 months. And so somewhere between 2 to 3 years is what we try to do. We do have some on a year. We even have some of the really old ones downtown that are on a 6 month.
Okay.
We don't have a lot of those on 6 months, but a few.
Okay, so this was, and you moved to annual maintenance in 1995, and this last year it was a little bit less than a year.
Correct. And the year before that, we were a little over a year. It was about 15 months without an issue the year before.
Okay. I think for now, those are my questions.
Okay.
I think you answered
Councilman?
my questions as well, so
Okay.
I'll withdraw
Great.
that.
Okay. Any other questions for Director Elliott? Director Elliott, I'm assuming that the reason for the denial is because the city did not have notice that there was a problem and...
That is correct. It comes down to notice. The year, like the one before, was about 15 months, so we didn't have any indication that being at 11 months that this would happen. It would have been our expectation. Our year cleaning would have been sufficient. So again, it's kind of unpredictable with the root growth. Some years they grow faster than others, but we didn't have noticed that this would have been an issue at this point.
Okay, very good. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Just a comment.
Oh, yes, Councilman.
Is there such a thing as a backflow preventer to stop that from
Not at that.
backing up on private line?
There are backflow preventers on houses. There's, I don't know, this is getting way out of my depth. I don't know if there's one at that scale to prevent something that large from an 8-inch main for the 305 feet of length. That's there. That I don't know. I'd have to confirm with my team. Yeah, I don't know.
Just a thought.
Yes,
Thank you,
Council,
Tom.
Yep. Councilwoman?
Well, I just have one other question because I just want to make certain I understand the claim filing. So the sewer backup was as a result of the clog at the main.
Right, the roots.
The claim was the sewer backed up onto private property because it was prevented from moving down the main. This wasn't a clean out, a claim, where a clean out sometimes blows into.
Right. No, this was not a blowback from one of our jetting sessions. This was the roots and then the stuff that clings onto it for a while, and then it just eventually built up and went back into the home.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much, Director.
Thank you.
All right, let's go ahead and see if we have anyone else who would like to come up and speak regarding 5A, new and pending claims against the city. Do we have anyone else here who would like to come up and speak about a new and pending claim against the city? Okay, seeing none. Let's go ahead and move on to 5B.
Item 5B is approving renewal of the entertainment district license issued to TDP Phase 1 LLC and TDP Phase 2 LLC, doing business as Rail Yard Promotional Association in the area south of the Pinnacle Bank Arena, generally bound by 7th Street and the 7th Street and the north-south alley west of Canopy Street, R Street, and Q Street, including private properties known as the Rail Yard and Courtyard adjacent to the Canopy Lofts and the Hobson Hyatt Plate Hotel, and all outdoor dining areas in the public right-of-way.
Greg, welcome.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Greg Frazier, 440 North 8th Street, here on behalf of TDP Phase 1, TDP Phase 2, and Rail Yard Promotional Association. Here speaking in favor of approval of the issuance, or the renewal rather, of this entertainment district license. It is important for our operation of the rail yard, in support of the arena and all the public and private infrastructure and investment that's been made in the West Haymarket, to provide an area for residents of our community to be able to go and enjoy themselves, have a meal, enjoy the different events that go on in the rail yard and entertainment district area. And I would just ask that you approve this renewal.
Very good. Thank you so much for coming down. We appreciate it. Let me see if any of my peers have questions for you. We have Mr. Frazier here. Any questions for him while we have him here? Yes, Councilwoman.
I was reviewing the application, and I was just curious what has been done, what's being done to address some of the complaints there have been around noise, usually from hotel guests.
Yeah, so we have the hotel keep a log of all of the complaints that are made. Frankly, there's been, since I guess we opened the rail yard area in 2010, 2013 timeframe, and since then we've had a diminishing number of noise complaints due to primarily working with the hotel, with the residents of Canopy Lofts across the street, to ensure that we've got the decibel levels dialed in at the rail yard, and that we turn any music or outside entertainment off at an appropriate time, so that people can get some sleep or enjoy a quiet time, right? The hotel, and I've spoken with the general manager, Brooke Seacrest. He indicated that typically what the hotel will do in order to address any noise issues is to either comp a room, or if that's not possible, typically they'll get a noise complaint in one of their surveys after the guests have left the property. In that case, they'll reach out and offer either complimentary drink tickets or something to alleviate, to make up for that issue. This is sort of a unique circumstance because TDP Phase 2 is the owner of the hotel, so we have a vested interest, obviously, in making sure that hotel guests are well taken care of, because we want them to come back to the hotel. So the fact that there's common ownership in the area helps ensure that that we're all on the same team and making sure that we can address those concerns.
All right. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Any other questions for Greg? Okay, very good. Thank you so much.
Thank
We
you.
appreciate it. We do have staff here as well, if we have any questions for staff. Let me see first, though, if we have anyone else here who would like to speak on item 5B, the renewal of the entertainment district license. Is there anyone else here who would like to speak on item 5B? Okay, I don't see anyone else. Counselors, do we have any questions for staff? Okay, very good. Well, let's go ahead and move on with voting on these resolutions. Madam Clerk.
Item 5A is accepting and approving the reports of new and pending claims against the city for February 1st through February 15th, 2024, introduced by Carlson.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second,
Show.
Shob. Sorry, thank you. I apologize. Second, Shob. I believe that we have a motion to amend on this one, on 5A.
Yes, and I'm supposed to make that motion.
So you're moving the motion to amend number 1 there, Tom?
Yes.
Okay. Is there a second?
I will second that.
Washington, seconded. And Tom, I believe that motion there is to correct the claim amount that was misrepresented. Is that correct there?
That's correct. On line 10, the claim amount to Patrick and Rochelle Wolf should be in the amount of $10,302.54.
Perfect. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. We are moved by Duden, seconded by Washington. Please call the roll.
Weber,
Yes.
Bowers,
Yes.
Schob,
Yes.
Carlson,
Yes.
Washington,
Yes.
Duden,
Yes.
Beckius.
Yes.
Motion carried 7-0.
Back to the main motion then. Do we have any requests to remove anything, or are we ready to vote? I'll entertain any requests if we have any. Okay, seeing none, let's go ahead and call the vote.
Weber,
Yes.
Bowers,
Yes.
Schob,
Yes.
Carlson,
Yes.
Washington,
Yes.
Duden,
Yes.
Beckius.
Yes.
Motion carried 7-0. Item 5B is approving renewal of the entertainment district license issued to TDP Phase 1 LLC and TDP Phase 2 LLC, doing business as Rail Yard Promotional Association in the area south of the Pinnacle Bank Arena, generally bound by 7th Street, and the north-south alley west of Canopy Street, R Street, and Q Street, including private properties known as the Rail Yard and Courtyard adjacent to the Canopy Lofts and Hobson Hyatt Place Hotel, and all outdoor dining areas in the public right-of-way, introduced by Carlson.
So moved.
Second?
Second, Washington, discussion. I would just like to take a quick moment to thank the ownership group. The entertainment district is a beast to try to work through and work with, but it adds and enhances, adds a lot of value and enhances the experience of those attendees that frequent the entertainment district and the surrounding West Haymarket, and we thank you for those efforts. Councilman, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm sorry to speak after you, and because I agree with everything you said. What I'd like to say is that the new management of the rail yard came to the Internal Liquor Commission and spent quite some time addressing the concerns we had about past performance and looking at future activities. And we were satisfied with the answers they gave, and we look forward to a different experience from this point going forward. Different as in better.
All right. Any other comments at all? Okay, please call the roll.
Weber,
Yes.
Schob,
Yes.
Washington,
Yes.
Duden,
Yes.
Bowers,
Yes.
Carlson,
Yes.
Beckius.
Yes.
Motion carried 7-0. Okay, that concludes section 5 of our agenda. We shall move on to section 6, which is public hearing ordinances, second reading, and related resolutions. Item 6A is amending the pay schedule for the employee group whose classifications are assigned to the pay range prefixed by the letter A by changing the title from Community Outreach Forester to Assistant City Forester.
Director, welcome.
Yeah, good afternoon. Barb McIntyre, 575 South 10th Street, and I am here to talk to you about a reorganization we're doing in parks, and I brought backup in case you have questions I cannot ask. Maggie Stuckey-Ross is here with us today, too. So she is reorganizing her department, and this is really a title change to clearly reflect and revise the job duties to have the position of the Assistant City Forester really focus on outreach and operations. There are 2 people in the role today. It's not changing anything for their compensation. It's really just changing the class's title, responsibilities. And then she does hope to add a 3rd one of these positions in the future.
All right, very good. Thank you. Any questions for Director McIntyre? Okay, very good. Thank you so much. Is there anyone else here who would like to speak on item 6A? All right, see none, let's move on to 6B.
Item 6B is amending the pay schedule for the employee group whose classifications are assigned the pay range prefixed by the letter M by creating the classification of City Forester.
Yep, so this is a classification that we are creating, and it will be the leadership to oversee the Assistant City Foresters that we just talked about. There is no budget change to this. We have someone now who will be laterally transferring into that position. We did do a market compensation study, which supports it being an M4. And we're hoping to get the reorganization done and the person transferred in before the end of this fiscal year. But again, there's no budgetary impact, and they will oversee the 3 positions that we just talked about.
Very good. Any questions for Director?
I have a question for Director Stuckey-Ross.
Okay.
Thank you. Maggie Stuckey-Ross with Lincoln Parks and Recreation. So before I take your question, see if I answer it here. So since I began this role, I've committed a significant amount of time to looking at the forestry section. I think I've had conversations with almost every single one of you about the scope of the work of this division and the importance of the work of this division. Looking into the current structure that we have related to policies, ordinances, our equipment and fleet, asset management, all things considered, I felt like there was a real void in leadership in that section. And so we are revising or reinstating a classification that existed before of city forester. I believe it left in 2010. This position will report directly to me, be part of my leadership team. I will lean on this person for all forestry-related tasks and duties within the department. Right now, a lot of the forestry duties are they are all over the place in our department, and bringing this person together and reclassifying with the assistant city forester is going to give me that leadership structure I need to be responsive to the needs we have today and of course the needs in the future. So I really appreciate your support of this, moving the pieces around, more pieces to be moved, but excited about what's ahead for forestry. So I'm happy to answer your question.
Thank you, Director. I do have one question. As you're moving the pieces around, how does this impact your budget?
Yeah, so at this point, we are not adding an FTE to make this change. This is simply bringing back a classification. It is my intention to move someone into this role currently on our team. In the future, as Director McIntyre said, I'd like to add a third assistant city forester to the mix to handle kind of the administration and policy side of our work. At this point, that's not before you, and I'm not making that request, but I invite you to stand by. I likely will be making that request sometime in the future. So at this point, it is simply bringing back the classification, and it will be budget neutral.
Okay, thank you very much.
Other questions for Director? Okay. Seeing none?
Yeah, and I think there are some members of the Community Forestry Advisory Board that are here to offer their words as well, just so you know.
Yeah, very good. Now would be the time. So if there's anyone else here who would like to speak on item 6B, creating the classification of city forester. Welcome.
Good afternoon. My name is Peter Smith. Excuse me. I live at 900 South 34th Street here in Lincoln, and I'm a member of the Community Forestry Advisory Board. I'm a professional forester and urban forester, and I have worked for more than 30 years in support of urban and community forestry around the state of Texas and around the country. And I can say with great certainty that the position of city forester is critical to the management of both public and private trees that represent our urban forest here in Lincoln and all over the country. So I am in support of an official position here named city forester. As a member of the Community Forestry Advisory Board, we are charged with advice to council and the mayor on a variety of topics, one of which includes planning for the urban forest. And this is of great interest and concern for the Community Forestry Advisory Board to have a coherent and long-range urban forestry plan. And I think this position is something that would have come up in a planning effort as a gap. So I'm glad to see the city filling that gap at this moment. Thank you.
Mr. Smith, thank you for not only coming down here and testifying today, but for your continued service on the advisory board. We appreciate you giving the time to the city of Lincoln. Let me see if any of my peers have questions for you. Any questions for Mr. Smith? All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
We appreciate it. Is there anyone else here who would like to speak on item 6B? All right. Any final questions? All right, very good. Let's go ahead and move on to 6C.
Item 6C is amending the pay schedule for the employee group whose classifications are assigned to the pay range, which is prefixed by the letter N, by deleting the classification for parks welder, custodian, parks electrician, and parks plumber.
Is there anyone here to speak on item 6C? Anyone here for 6C? All right, seeing none, let's go ahead and move on to 6D.
Item 6D is text amendment 24001, application of E&A Consulting to amend Lincoln Municipal Code Section 27.06.070, Household Living Use Group Table, and Section 27.62.040, Household Living Use Group, to allow dwellings, including multifamily, single-family, townhouses, and two-family dwellings to be permitted uses instead of conditional uses within the B1 zoning district.
Rick, welcome.
Good afternoon. Rick Onan with E&A Consulting, 2077 N Street. Here on behalf of our client Larry Coffey, making this request for a text change to allow household or living on first level of a B1 zoning district. The impetus for this request, Larry owns property at, this is at Capitol Beach. If you're familiar with the old Marina building, he operates his business out of that building and was looking to add an addition or a secondary structure to the north of it that would serve as a residence. And as we worked with staff, we're running into some issues in terms of, with the current ordinance, none of what was on the first level could be considered residential. As part of those discussions, we understood that staff was already working on potential amendments to the B1, also the O2 and the B3 to allow this type of use. So we went ahead and made the request ahead of what we believe planning was planning to do anyway. We originally made that request for all three zoning districts, and then after staff did their review, they decided that we wanted to limit it to just B1 at this time, and they would do further consideration on the other two in the future. So that's kind of the long and short of it. I will answer any questions if you have any.
Any questions for Rick? Yes.
Does this set a precedent?
It is a change to the zoning district. So any B1 zoning would have this capability, and I apologize, George presented at Planning Commission some of the other areas that are under this district that would potentially be open to this option, and they all seem to be uses, at least from a Planning Commission standpoint, that would be appropriate for those areas. I did not bring those maps with me, I apologize.
B1 and B3 traditionally are neighborhood business zoning districts, so the ideology of probably allowing residential on the first floor would probably be cohesive with that general zoning district.
Right, and I think as we've transitioned, particularly after COVID, as people have transitioned more to working at home, some of this dynamics of how people set up their businesses have changed a little bit.
Councilman, more questions?
Makes sense, yeah, thank you.
Councilman Shob, did you have a question, sir?
I was going to ask a similar question of Mr. Carey.
Okay, well, let's bring up, Rick, thank you very much, we appreciate it. Let's bring up Director Carey and see what other staff questions that we have. Councilman Shob, would you like to start us off?
I will. Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Mr. Carey, thanks for coming forward.
Certainly.
As Councilman Duden asked, this changes the B1. With almost all changes, there's good and bad. I'm sure you've looked at that. Can you help me understand what's good about it, what's bad about it?
Sure. Thank you for the question. David Carey, Director of the Planning Department, 555 South 10th Street. I'm going to put a map up on the overhead just because I think it's going to be very helpful to get a feel for what this change does do. What's highlighted in red, these are the areas that are currently zoned B1, which would be affected by this change. As you can see, there's several small areas, but it's not a huge amount of our commercial space. But I wanted to kind of visually show kind of what this change would do and where it would be applicable to. So just to provide a little bit more context to what Rick had done a good job of explaining is there have been discussions about the O2, the B1, and the B3, which, as was stated earlier, are more neighborhood commercial zoning areas, closer into older neighborhoods in particular. So there are some pros and cons. I think that one of the biggest pro is it allows more flexibility for a property owner to get an additional use for that ground level activity. And we have seen a lot of change over time in commercial areas where sometime in some areas and some locations, it's difficult to lease out some of that space. So the main benefit is to provide more flexibility, more opportunity for the different uses and more uses. There can be drawbacks, certainly. Part of the reason why we want to continue the discussion about the B1 and the B3, excuse me, and the O2 is that we want to be certain that we're ready for that change to all the districts. The B3 in particular is they're located in those more traditional, older commercial districts in older areas, and we want to be a little bit more cautious there. For the B1, it's a little bit more distributed and around the city, not really concentrated in too many areas. We see some areas along O Street, and we also see, for another example, is the Bishop Heights area actually is B1. But that now has been approved for a significant changeover with the plan unit development. So that has its own plan now. And that's other things that can happen in these B1 districts too. So we felt comfortable with focusing on what the applicant's request was about, which was the B1 only. The applicant is obviously comfortable with us just making that change. And so that's what we did. And so we decided not to go forward with the proposal for the other districts, but we want to continue to talk about those.
Follow-up. So I've in the neighborhoods I've traveled in, there's usually an old boarded up storefront, some shop. It was a grocery or something else many years ago. I assume that's a B1. Now that can be converted to if we pass this, it can be converted to a residence without a rezoning, without a hearing. It's just part of our code. They can do that.
Correct. Not knowing exactly what the location is, if it was B1, and if we do make this change, they could do. The big difference is you could do residential in B1 today, but not on the ground level. So you could do a lower level or above the main level.
Or front and a home above it.
But not the main level. So this just makes that change to the ground level activity could be residential now.
And couldn't they have just come in and rezone the property or requested a rezoning?
Certainly, it's possible, but it's unlikely that, I would say it's unlikely that we, the planning department, would be supportive of that, because then it turns into more of a spot zoning situation, especially if you're in a string of commercial zoning existing today.
B1, R1, B1, R1, B1,
Right.
yeah.
So that would be the thinking coming from the planning department anyways.
Thank you. That helps me a lot. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Any other questions for Director Carey? Yes, Councilwoman.
Thank you. Director Carey, I've been searching sort of for examples of how this plays out. I appreciate the map here that shows where B1 is scattered in the city. But we looked at a project a couple of years ago in the, I think, near South neighborhood, and it was an old grocery store. And it now has 4 units that are residential. Was that B1, or was that just a?
I believe the tool that was used for that was a landmark overlay.
Yes.
And so, because it was a historical structure, and so that designation allows for reuse of a historical structure. And in that case, yes, it turned into residential.
Okay.
So that's, some of those opportunities are out there, but those are more single site, if it's historical in nature and we can retain the structure itself, and by doing that.
Okay, yeah, all right, I was trying to think of some other examples so that I could
Sure.
get a feel for it. And it may be that it's not a B1 area that I'm thinking about, but I've had a fair number of emails exchanges with someone whose multifamily project, or he's a resident of a multifamily in a B zone, and he does not like the timing of garbage pickup, because we allow it to be earlier in commercial zones than we do in residential or R zones. Would that be that if we allow residences in B1, that's not going to change how these other tangential businesses operate? If they have the ability to do commercial pickup for garbage, they still will in those expanded hours.
Yeah, so zoning regulations don't get into hours of operation for private businesses typically.
Mm-hmm.
We certainly aren't doing that right now. That could be a business association or homeowner association conversation
Mm-hmm.
with the operator, I guess, of the service, whatever the service is. But this type of change doesn't impact those types of things. Now, is it possible that you might have more opportunity for those interactions if we have more residential and commercial districts, perhaps. I guess I would say that's somewhat of a function of living in an urban environment too. So, but you get the complaints, not necessarily me, so I appreciate that.
All right, thank you very much.
Any other questions for Director Carey?
I was going to.
Yes, Councilman.
What was the name of the business where this, at Capitol Beach? What's the business part?
Gas and shop.
Oh. Oh, right there on the water?
Yep.
Oh.
Other
Okay.
questions, sir?
Yeah, I just didn't know.
Okay. Anyone else? All right, very good. Thank you, Director.
Thank you very much.
Is there anyone else here who would like to speak on item, let's see, where are we? 6D. Item 6D. All right, see none. Rick, anything else you'd like to add? Okay, very good. Thank you. Let's go ahead and move on to 6E, Madam Clerk.
Item 6E is approving a lease agreement between the City of Lincoln and National Able Network for the lease of space by National Able Network at 1330 N Street, Suite A and B from February 1st, 2024 through December 31st of 2029.
Good afternoon, council members. My name's Dylan Rand. I'm the Workforce Administrator at the American Job Center, 1330 N Street. We've got a lease agreement in front of you for 5 years with National Able. They serve more experienced workers, so anybody 55 and older, they can help them maybe learn a new skill while they're in retirement. They do a lot of internships. They call them work experiences, and they'll make a great addition to the American Job Center, as that is a group of people that we want to serve better. So,
Okay, very good. Thank you, Dylan. We appreciate you coming down. Do we have questions for Dylan? Dylan, it looks like that they're renting a total of 53 square feet.
yep, it's pretty big. It's
Okay.
just a cubicle, yeah.
So that's a cubicle.
Yep.
Okay, well, we're glad you're here.
It's
right.
not a huge moneymaker, but
It did seem reasonable, given the size of the
yeah.
space.
Yeah.
Having them present is more valuable than the actual dollar amount, so.
Sure. Any questions for Dylan? Okay, seeing none. Thank you,
Thank you.
sir. We appreciate it. Is there anyone else here who would like to speak on item 6E? All right, seeing none. That ends our public hearing, Madam Clerk.
We'll move on to Section 7, our ordinance's third reading and related resolutions. Item 7A is Text Amendment 23015, request of the City of Lincoln Planning to amend Lincoln Municipal Code Section 27.02.030B to add a definition for breezeway by amending Section 27.06.130 Retail Sales and Services Use Group to change kennels from P permitted use to C permitted conditional use for the AG and AGR districts by amending Section 27.62.100 Retail Sales and Services Use Group to add the condition that the lot shall be 10 acres or more for kennels and/or veterinary facilities to be consistent with the existing Table 27.72.010 by amending Section 27.63.680 Sale of Alcoholic Beverages for Consumption on the Premises to more precisely define that a daycare facility is not the residence of the child care provider, by amending Section 27.68.030 Permits required to allow the planning director to approve administratively an increase of 5 feet in height for personal wireless facilities, by amending Section 27.70.070 outlots permitted use to delete incidental structures for commercial developments from being permitted in outlots, by amending Section 27.72.010 heights and lot regulations AG and AGR districts to eliminate the language regarding boundary lines changing in AGR districts, by amending Section 27.72.060 uses permitted or prohibited within required yards to allow fire escapes and fireproof stairs to project into the side yard by not more than 3 1/2 feet, by amending Section 27.72.110 exceptions to the height requirements to allow cupolas and ornamental features in all residential districts may extend 10 feet above the height of the district as long as they are not able to be occupied, and to allow flagpoles to exceed the height of the district up to 100 feet in the B2, B5, H2, H3, H4, I1, I-2 and I-3 districts by amending sections 27.72.120 accessory buildings to correct the footnote in table 27.72.120 and to make it clear that an accessory building attached to the main building by an unenclosed deck, patio, ramp, open stair, or sidewalk is not considered part of the main building for setback purposes, but only if it is in the rear yard. And to state the accessory buildings on outlots should maintain a minimum 6-foot setback from all property lines by amending sections 27.75.060, decision of board transmitted to city clerk to remove language stating the resolution becomes null and void if not filed within 60 days. Introduced by Bowers.
So moved?
Second?
Second, Carlson. Discussion? Seeing none, please call the roll.
Carlson.
Yes.
Weber.
Yes.
Washington.
Yes.
Schob.
Yes.
Duden.
Yes.
Bowers.
Yes.
Beckius.
Yes.
Motion carried 7-0. Item 7B is text amendment 23015, amending chapter 1.00, request for waiver procedure of the design standards to amend the appeal timeframe to city council from 10 days to 14 days, introduced by Bowers.
So moved?
Second?
Second, Carlson. Discussion? Seeing none, please call the roll.
Carlson.
Yes.
Weber.
Yes.
Washington.
Yes.
Schob.
Yes.
Duden.
Yes.
Bowers.
Yes.
Beckius.
Yes.
Motion carried 7-0. Item 7C is change of zone 23076, application of Louis Yang to change the zone from AGR Agricultural Residential District to R3 Residential District on property generally located at 6301 South 84th Street, introduced by Bowers.
So moved?
Second?
Second, Carlson. Discussion? Seeing none, please call the roll.
Carlson.
Yes.
Weber.
Yes.
Washington.
Yes.
Schob.
Yes.
Duden.
Yes.
Bowers.
Yes.
Beckius.
Yes.
Motion carried 7-0. That concludes section 7 of our agenda. Section 8 is resolutions for first readings, items 8A through 8B. Section 9 is ordinances first reading and related resolutions are items 9A through 9D. And section 10 is our pending list, which are items 10A through 10H.
I would entertain a motion.
I would motion adjournment.
Second?
Moved Washington, seconded Carlson. Please call the roll.
Duden.
Yes.
Bowers.
Yes.
Schob.
Yes.
Washington.
Yes.
Carlson.
Yes.
Weber.
Yes.
Beckius.
Yes.
Motion carried 7-0.
We are adjourned.